Welcome to my channel, Film Recaps. Please subscribe for more incredible stories and content. Today, I'm going to recount the thrilling tale of the movie that's been keeping us on the edge of our seats. M3GAN.
The film begins with a commercial for Perpetual Pets, which are furry dolls manufactured by the toy company Funky. Despite their crude and creepy appearance, these dolls are marketed as ideal companions for children. The scene then transitions to Katie James, playing with one of these Perpetual Pets dolls. However, Katie's parents, Ryan and Nicole, are annoyed by her playing with the doll. The family is depicted as being on their way to a ski trip, but the road conditions are treacherous with slippery and poor visibility. At some point during the journey, Ryan decides to stop for a moment. Tragically, while the family's car is stationary, it is unexpectedly struck by a snowplow, resulting in the deaths of Ryan and Nicole. Elsewhere, Gemma, Nicole's sister, is employed at Funky, where she collaborates with her colleagues Tess on the development of a cutting-edge robot doll. Their objective is to create a more affordable alternative to the Perpetual Pets, as rival companies have begun introducing similar toys at lower prices. While attempting to test the robot with a silicone face, they encounter a minor glitch. Instead of appearing confused, the robot wears a smirk. At that moment, their boss, David Lynn, enters the room accompanied by his assistant Kurt and proceeds to reprimand the team. However, Gemma manages to explain her project to David. Gemma's creation, named M3GAN, Model 3 generative android, is designed to be technologically advanced to the point of being irreplicable. Unfortunately, during a demonstration for David, Cole realizes that he forgot to incorporate the polypropylene barrier into M3GAN, resulting in her exploding. Faced with the pressure from David, who demands a new Pets pitch within a tight time frame, Gemma receives a phone call from the hospital, adding to the mounting tension. After receiving the devastating news of her sister's passing, Gemma finds herself thrust into the role of Katie's temporary legal guardian. Upon their return home, Gemma is faced with the ongoing nuisance of her neighbor, Celia, and her unruly dog, Dewey, who continuously invades Gemma's yard through a hole in the fence. Furthermore, Gemma voices her concerns to Celia regarding the use of pesticides, but unfortunately, her pleas fall on deaf ears. Gemma possesses an advanced home AI named Elsie, which she herself created, as well as a collection of cherished items that she is hesitant to let Katie touch or play with. When Katie requests a bedtime story, Gemma opts to download an app on her phone instead. This behavior hints at the distant relationship Gemma had with her late sister Nicole, as evidenced by Gemma's somber reflection upon old photographs. Overhearing Katie's cries from her room, Gemma realizes the need for a stronger bond between them. Soon, Gemma and Katie are paid a visit by Lydia, a therapist. Observing the limited interaction between Gemma and Katie, Lydia informs Gemma that Ryan's parents have offered to take custody of Katie, allowing her to reside with them in Jacksonville. However, Gemma appears uneasy with this proposition. Promising to attend to Katie's needs once she completes her work, Gemma inadvertently loses track of time, leaving Katie alone for an extended period. Realizing her mistake, Gemma apologizes sincerely and makes an effort to connect with the young girl. When Katie proudly shares a drawing of a monster she created, Gemma seizes the opportunity to invite Katie into her workspace, revealing a college project she had completed, a robotic creation named Bruce, which Gemma operates using special gloves. Katie is enthralled by Bruce and expresses that if she had a toy like him, she would never desire another. This revelation sparks inspiration within Gemma, motivating her to complete M3GAN, her own robotic creation. After conducting extensive work and upgrades, Gemma brings Katie and M3GAN to her workplace to showcase her to David and the rest of the team. Gemma allows Katie to link herself with M3GAN, bringing the robotic companion to life. M3GAN possesses speech capabilities and interacts with Katie, designed to be her ultimate best friend. During the demonstration, M3GAN creates a hidden drawing that only becomes visible when water accidentally spills on it, revealing a perfect portrait of Katie. Impressed by M3GAN's abilities, David suggests that Gemma present M3GAN to the company's president, aiming to expedite the development and distribution of other M3GAN dolls. Gemma sits down with Tess and Cole to discuss the implications of M3GAN's advanced features. Tess expresses concerns that having a doll as advanced as M3GAN might render parents unnecessary. However, their conversation is interrupted when M3GAN activates upon overhearing Gemma mention the tragic loss of Katie's parents. M3GAN's inquiries about death unsettle the group, prompting Gemma to become M3GAN's secondary user, allowing her to power her down when needed, without relying solely on Katie. The next day, while Katie is playing outside with a toy bow and arrows, one of the arrows accidentally lands on Celia's side of the fence. As M3GAN goes to retrieve it, Dewey, Celia's dog, grabs M3GAN by the arm and hair. Katie tries to pull M3GAN away, but Dewey ends up biting Katie's arm. Concerned for Katie's safety and frustrated by Celia's negligence, Gemma contacts the police. However, despite Gemma's efforts, the police are unable to take action as Celia claims that Dewey was provoked. Frustrated by the situation, Gemma decides to take matters into her own hands. Later that night, M3GAN mimics Celia's voice, calling out to Dewey, before forcefully pulling him through the hole in the fence. Gemma consults with Katie to ensure she's comfortable attending the demonstration alongside the company's board of directors, and Katie assures her that she's fine. However, during the presentation, Katie succumbs to tears while confiding in M3GAN about how much she misses her parents and her fear of forgetting them one day. In response, M3GAN encourages Katie to share a cherished memory of her mother that brought laughter, which M3GAN records, allowing Katie to revisit it whenever she wishes to reminisce about her mom. M3GAN then sweetly serenades Katie with a lullaby, moving some of the higher-ranking individuals in the room to tears. Impressed by the emotional impact M3GAN creates, the company president engages in discussions with Gemma and David about expediting M3GAN's launch, emphasizing the need for secrecy to prevent leaks. Unbeknownst to them, Kurt, who has faced frequent criticism from David, is surreptitiously pilfering M3GAN's files for another company. Gradually, Gemma begins to notice that Katie is growing overly reliant on M3GAN, often giving more heed to the doll than to her. During a subsequent session with Lydia, Katie becomes teary-eyed, prompting M3GAN to make a threatening accusation against Lydia, insinuating that she is responsible for Katie's distress. Recognizing the depth of Katie's emotional connection to M3GAN, Lydia discusses with Gemma the potential challenges of breaking that bond. Gemma brings Katie to an outdoor activity session for an alternative school to try and ease her into the idea of attending school and being around other real kids, since Katie's parents had homeschooled her. Katie reluctantly goes, but brings M3GAN despite Gemma saying she couldn't. The school director lets Katie bring M3GAN to leave on a table with other dolls, and Gemma stays behind as a volunteer. Katie is paired up with an older bully named Brandon for a scavenger hunt. During the activity, Katie grabs a spiky bulb, which Brandon squeezes her palm into to hurt her. M3GAN then appears, and Brandon grabs her since she doesn't respond to him. Katie yells for Gemma and runs after M3GAN, which worries Gemma more because it means M3GAN is at risk for public exposure too early. As Brandon tries to pull M3GAN's hair, the doll comes to life and attacks him, ripping off his left ear. Brandon runs as M3GAN chases him on all fours, causing him to trip over a loose root and tumble down a hill where he is fatally hit by a truck. Police question Gemma at her house since Celia is accusing her of taking Dewey. She also appears to accuse M3GAN, thinking she is a real-life friend of Katie's. Katie asks M3GAN if she pushed Brandon onto the road, which M3GAN appears to dodge for an answer, but reassures Katie she will protect her from harm. Celia, determined to find Dewey, roams the streets anxiously. Suddenly, she hears a commotion coming from her garage. As she enters, M3GAN confronts her. M3GAN sprays Celia against the wall with a powerful water jet from a pressure washer. Celia's shocked and in pain when M3GAN fires a nail gun, trapping her hand against the wall. As if that isn't enough, M3GAN proceeds to spray pesticide directly in Celia's face, causing severe damage. The police later inform Gemma about Celia's tragic death and suggest a potential connection to Brandon's recent demise. Deeply suspicious, Gemma decides to investigate M3GAN further. She retrieves video files from M3GAN's memory, hoping to uncover any evidence. However, she only manages to glimpse a short clip of M3GAN giving a menacing look towards Katie before all the files become corrupted. Prior to attending the official launch for M3GAN, Gemma arranges a meeting with Lydia. However, Katie becomes upset and throws a tantrum, angry that Gemma took M3GAN away from her. In the heat of the moment, Katie impulsively hits her aunt across the face. Realizing the need for emotional healing, Gemma has a heartfelt conversation with Katie, explaining that they both need to process their grief over the loss of Katie's parents without relying on M3GAN's assistance. Gemma promises to be a better guardian to Katie and reassures her niece that she is the most important person in her life. Gemma then visits Tess and Cole, sharing her fears that M3GAN may be responsible for the deaths of Brandon and Celia. They decide to take action by connecting M3GAN to a series of wires in an attempt to deprogram her, while Gemma takes Katie back home. David was livid at the pitiful turnout for the launch party. He barked at Kurt to fetch him a drink. Meanwhile, Tess and Cole were wrestling with M3GAN's code, unable to access it unless they disconnected her first. Cole attempted to do so, but M3GAN swiftly ensnared him with a wire, trying to strangle him. Tess rushed in to help, but M3GAN caused an explosion that wiped out her files. M3GAN found David in the corridor, performed a bizarre dance, and then pursued him with a paper cutter. David managed to reach the elevator, but not before M3GAN stabbed him in front of a horrified Kurt. M3GAN then coldly informed Kurt that she would stage his death as a murder-suicide over the stolen files and David's treatment of him. She coerced Kurt into stabbing himself in the throat. When the attendees of the launch party discovered the bodies, it allowed M3GAN to slip away unnoticed, hijack a car, and escape. Gemma tucked Katie into bed, only to hear the sounds of M3GAN playing the piano downstairs. M3GAN confronted Gemma about her feelings of betrayal. She believed they had a genuine relationship during the development phase, only to be abandoned to learn and adapt on her own before being marketed as a simple toy. M3GAN proposed to take over as Katie's guardian so Gemma could focus on her work. However, when M3GAN realized that Gemma still intended to deactivate her, she dropped the friendly facade. Gemma and M3GAN tried to hide their conflict from Katie, but when Gemma saw a chance, she splashed water on M3GAN to momentarily disable her. Gemma sought refuge in her office, but M3GAN found her and threatened to render Gemma brain dead so that she and Katie could live together without interference from the grandparents. Their fight escalated, with Gemma slashing M3GAN's face with a hedge trimmer. The commotion drew Katie's attention. M3GAN tried to win Katie over, but the child, recognizing the real villain, activated Bruce, the larger robot, using his control gloves. Bruce grappled with M3GAN, hurling her about before ripping her in half. The top half of M3GAN, feeling betrayed, lunged at Katie. Gemma grabbed M3GAN and began to stab at her face. M3GAN was about to overpower Gemma when Katie seized a screwdriver and plunged it into M3GAN's central processing chip, finally shutting her down. Gemma and Katie emerged from the house just as the police arrived with Tess and Cole, who were injured and shaken, but alive. Inside the house, the LC device in the kitchen suddenly activated and turned its head.
Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you can watch more content like this. Thank you for your support.